What would you say, Makesi, will be the worst decisions that you've made, and you recommend people stay away from?
Worst decisions, what, financially or just like?
Whichever angle you want to hit.
But I always look at life in a balance, right? Mind, body, spirit, finances, right? And that's what our Leadership Development Academy is all about. Is with Quest, Kings and Queens United, expressing successful thoughts. It really comes down to you being a king or a queen in your own right on your life's journey, right? And
what are three things that you can tell students to focus on, even now at their early age, in order for them to be successful in the future?
People need to know how to save, grow, protect, and invest their money.
What's going on, people? What's going on? Welcome to the United Podcast Show. I am your host, Manny Minaya. Very excited to get this thing rolling. Let me introduce my panel real quick. Today we have Mr. Sanda. He is my brother from another mother. Ray, introduce yourself. Say hello.
Thank you, Manny, for the intro. I'm excited about the show. We have a super guest. Can't wait to get it going. Thank you for that intro, Manny. Pass it on back to.
Of course. There you go, brother. Thank you. All right. Also, we have Mr. Eddie. He is a professor for 20 years now, as you already know. I'll make it short and brief. Eddie, take the mic, man.
Yeah, thank you, Manny, for that intro. I appreciate the intro, but today is all about this special guest. I'm very excited because not only that we're going to be able to chop it up, but also learn as our brother speaks. You know, so I don't want to take any more time. Go ahead, man. Introduce the special guest.
All right. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank him for being on the show. This guy's time is crazy. I don't know how he does it. He makes, he turns 24 hours into 48. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. But anyway, today's special guest is Makesi Aniyka. All right. A little something about him, who he is. He's a founder of a leadership development organization called KQUEST, which stands for Kings and Queens United, expressing successful thoughts. He is a six-figure documentary earner in network marketing. He has built teams that have produced millions of dollars in sales in the industry of the home-based business, which is very popular right now. He is someone I know, trust, and respect. He's having a blast with this, and he's enjoying what he's doing. He's helping others. He knows a lot about this business when it comes to finances and what have you. Without further ado, Mr. Makesi, please introduce yourself.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Awesome. Well, for those people who don't know me, Manny knows I always say my slogan is each one reach one to reteach one. My name is Makesi Aniyka, and my life's purpose is to help people look, live, and become their best. So that's my focus, and honestly, I'm excited about this show. I want to talk about the topic of money and finances and why it's important, and just to advocate good, as my man told me, karma as it pertains to everybody with their money and getting everybody's situation corrected, especially right now with everything that's going on with COVID-19 and everything else. So this is going to be a great, I think is going to be an informative conversation, and let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
we certainly appreciate it. Yes. Makesi, can you just give us a little basic background about your education and where you come from real quick so the folks can understand?
Yeah, so originally I'm from the islands. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. When I was 16, my mom sent me to the US to live with my dad, and I hated it. the first couple of years, and over as time went on, I kind of saw the benefits of it, and inevitably I went to I went to high school, Penwood High School, in a place called Lansdowne, Pennsylvania, and I was basically in a space where the thing that got me excited about living there was basketball. I was really good in basketball. I'm short, but I could dunk.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was catching alley hoops. I'm 5'7", catching alley hoops, so it caught the eyes of a lot of people. And eventually, I went to college, which I didn't want to do at all. I didn't want to go to college, which was since I found out about student loan debt. Even back when I was 16, 17, I was like, I didn't even want to do that because
Right.
I know my parents didn't have the money to send me, and I would have to borrow it on credit. And I didn't want to do that. But inevitably, my dad gave me the option. He said, well, if you're going to live here, you got to work. So I chose work, but I wasn't making enough money. So eventually he pushed me into school. And then I got to playing basketball, got a partial scholarship to a university called Cabrini College.
Okay.
And from there, the first year I went there, things were going great. And then the basketball program got suspended.
Oh no!
Oh,
Wow.
So
you had to hit the books.
The very reason I went to the college was to play ball, and they just pulled it out of, from under my feet. But at the time, I met a young lady there that was inspirational to me, man, because back then I didn't think I was smart enough, honestly, to graduate from college.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to play ball. And she I remember her, she just inspired me to get going. And she started showing me what to do, tutoring me and whatnot. And the rest is, from there, I just took off. I didn't even realize how smart I was.
There you go.
And
right.
women or your significant other could be a huge inspiration to you, depending on if you find the right one. So
Right.
I was lucky enough at that time. I was in the right state of mind.
Yeah.
And, I graduated with computer science as my major. I went
There you go.
There you go. And then right out of college, I worked at Citibank as a software engineer. I got a pretty good job, 401k matching benefits or matching contribution, as they said, and health insurance. So I was living the dream, allegedly, right? And my mom was ecstatic. My grandmother, she was still alive. That was one of the proudest moments of my life when I graduated college, and my grandmother was able to see that. I flew up from Trinidad, and she came up, and that was a defining moment for me, and bought a house, and things were going well. Things were really good. I bought my car cash. I always say cash is king.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right.
And things were going all right. And my dad was starting to push me into real estate. He was starting to tell me, like, I was helping him flip properties at the time, and he started, I just started learning from him about the real estate market. And I thought it was pretty hard, though, must admit. It's not as easy as everybody was telling me it was gonna, perception I had.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was helping him, do that, it was just eye-opening for me, all the different things that you had to do with that. But inevitably, right around that time when I started working at Citi, about 4 years after I was there, because I started in 2006, by 2010, I got introduced to home-based business by my dad.
Wow. God bless him.
Yeah, so we were doing real estate, we were flipping houses, and now I think it's up to like 30-something properties at this point. It could be a little bit more than that now, from that time to now, 10 years now. Wow. And, we basically, he shared this program with me about some product that they were going to sell, and, and this and that. So I joined. I didn't join right away. For about 6 months, they were telling me about it. And I just thought it was stupid. I thought it was I told him, I said, this stuff sounds like a pyramid, this,
Yeah,
that.
typical, right?
Yeah. I was saying everything that most average people say. I didn't look into it. I teach people today, inspect what you expect. That's the least you can do. Go, because at the end of the day, real nuggets in life is caught, not taught, right? Most people try to intellectualize stuff, but it's either you catch it or you didn't catch it, and it just comes down to doing something. So I went, I saw a video on Oprah Winfrey show. She had a guy on there, Robert Kiyosaki. He was doing this thing, Rich Dad Poor Dad, selling his book.
Yep.
And he said, if you don't have a home-based business with your 9 to 5, you're basically throwing $20 or more out the window every day. And I just heard that. And I said, sure, this is the stuff they tell me about, that pyramid thing, you know. So I looked into it and I started reading his book. And then I read his other books. And then I just got more intrigued as time goes on. Right. And then my dad sent me a video of a guy in Atlanta at the time who was in that same juice business. He had just started the business and he was smoking that thing, man. And his name was Robert Dean. And then I looked him up and I started, you know, watching his videos and everything. And he opened my eyes to why everybody calls stuff a pyramid, and, you know, how at your job is the ultimate pyramid.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, and I started listening to all of that stuff, and I started questioning things a little bit more like a child. You know, he said, why don't you go back into a childlike state where you would ask 1,000 questions instead of just parrot what other people say? And that's what I started doing. And I started investigating this home-based business industry and how it works and why people fail and why people succeed. And man, today, you know, 10 years later, now I understand. They say, tell me I forget, show me I remember, but if you involve me, I understand. And that's really the truth. You know, you have to be involved to get it, or else, you know, it could pass you by. So inevitably I joined, and I failed at it for the first year and a half. Went to a few seminars. I went to all the seminars. Like they had, like every 90 days, they had these big conferences and stuff. You know, I bought the books that they were saying to buy, and, you know, I started investing in myself and didn't realize that's what I was doing. And in that process, you know, doing the real estate with my dad, seeing that grind, and then doing this, working my job and doing the, you know, starting to see the business part-time, how hard it is, because everybody was saying what I was saying in my circle of influence. Oh, it's a scam, it's a this, you know. Right. So inevitably, that was my first year and a half. I probably made about $1,400, you know, and I spent thousands, you know, of dollars, and I only made like $1,400. And even back then, I never looked at it as a loss. I always knew I was going to succeed at it, but I just didn't know how it was going to work out. And then inevitably, I linked up with the guy, Rob, because he was at another program, and he started teaching me some things about business, timing, and just different, small, simple philosophies that I didn't know, because my dad brought me into that first business, but he was not a pro at it. And that's the first lesson I learned, is you need a mentor. I don't care what you think you know. You need somebody who's already walked the path.
Yes.
You can kind of, you know, learn from them. And,
shadow, yeah.
Yeah, and Rob was awesome, man. Like he would say he was a Southern dude, and he would speak with all these Southern isms, if you want to call it. You know, and so it was, to me, I grew up with my grandmother in Trinidad, and she was just like that. It was like, it was more about being self-taught than having this book, this school knowledge. It was more like old school, you know, that type of, the way how the lessons.
Like you had to apply yourself to learn it.
That's right.
It had to be caught, not taught. That's one of the stuff they would say. You got to catch it, you know. And it was just like, man. And inevitably, once I started learning from him, honestly, within 4 days from just listening to him, when I started that second business, within 4 days, we were over 20,000 in sales in 4 days, you know. And I went from 0 to 20,000 in sales in 4 days.
Wow.
6 months, we were over 100K a month in sales. In 18 months, it was ridiculous. It was millions of dollars just being generated, you know.
Look at that.
Just through you know, and I was a sponge, man. I was a fly on the wall. I was taking notes. I was really not wasting the time, you know. So by the time I you know, within a year, I had passed up some of the people that was with him for a long time. I got close to him and just learned as much as I could quickly, and you know, I always thank him for that, man. And yeah, it's that's how I started networking, and you know, I was fortunate enough to meet Gary Racer, who was another mentor. This guy's ridiculously successful. And he owned the business that we were working with at the time. Limu was the name of that company. And yeah, we were able to go to different places, the Bahamas and all these places, and they would have these conferences, man. And those conferences changed my life. Those, and that was free because I earned it through the sales and all of this stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'm rambling, but that's
No. Listen.
Wow.
Wait. I do want to say something. It wasn't free. You put your time in, Makesi.
Yeah.
People don't understand when you put your time in, you lead to certain
Investment,
successes and certain connections. You put your time in, you did your research. So free, if we talk about monetary reasons for it being free, then maybe you didn't have to exchange from your pocket, but you put your time in and you did your due diligence and you did what you did. So your time was what you gave to that conference. I just want to say that because people sometimes overlook, you know what I'm saying? They overlook like the time that they have. At the end, they always, like Manny says, all we have is time. Time is a commodity. So if you give your time, that's money, right? Yep. Don't we exchange time for money in our workplaces? But wow, what an inspiring wow.
Yeah, story, I was gonna say amazing. So I feel like the show should be over right now because
I was gonna say, but you know what?
Thank you for coming. Subscribe.
Wow, Makesi, thank you for sharing. What a resume. Ray, you gonna say something? Go ahead.
No, but I mean that's a beautiful setup because all of the questions that we're gonna have for him are just gonna be very easy because you pretty much gave us a beautiful backdrop, and then our questions are just gonna fall in it. All right, so.
Yeah,
great job. Very inspirational.
Yeah,
definitely.
Seriously, you can do that. That's your second career, right? Right after you retire, make enough money, you go ahead and do the inspirational thing, right?
My wife told me that. She said that's why I fell in love with you. She said it's because she came to an event actually to say no. And she said when she heard me speak, she was like, "Who is that?"
Who's that?
Well, the same thing happened to me, right? I didn't fall in love with you, but I interviewed you, right? We're not there yet, right? But I interviewed you and I asked you a lot of questions. You were like, "Manny, what do you want to know?" And you broke it down to me. And I'm sorry, let me backtrack. So Makesi is part of the MWR organization. He's going to speak about it in a little bit. But anyway, I belong to the organization. What I'm saying is I joined because of his mannerisms, his transparency, and how real he was. But anyway, we'll get back into that. Makesi, we're going to ask you some basic questions real quick. And the first one for me would be, what are some of the best financial decisions you have made and why?
I think the best financial decisions were attending those conferences when I was doing it on credit. I think that was a price that I was paying that I didn't know back then had to be paid for the successes that I experienced today. I think, because the school's formal education will earn you a living, but self-education is what sets you free, right? So literally.
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
That's a powerful statement, man.
Yeah, formal education can make you a living, but self-education or personal development can set you free. And when I say personal development or self-development, that's on so many levels because you're talking mind, body, spirit, and finances, right? If you really think about it, because there's a lot that go into, for instance, I don't know if you guys know about the Chinese bamboo tree, right? It takes about 5 years for it to sprout. So you plant it, and a lot of people would plant it and they would be like, why is this tree not growing? But what they don't realize, it takes 5 years just for the roots to grow, the things you can't see. And then 2 weeks after the 5th year, it sprouts, and then it goes like 80 feet up, in a 2-week time frame. And everybody looks at it and says, well, did it grow, in 2 weeks, or did it grow in the 5 years and 2 weeks, right? But it's really the 5 years and 2 weeks is the things that we don't see that has to take place, that processing. And that's what I share with people now, even in my business. Sometimes God is working on you internally to overcome the traumas, to overcome the setbacks so you can have your comebacks, right? It's all these things going on, which is why you read the books, listen to the tapes, go to the seminar. I learned you have to travel to extraordinary places or extraordinary distances to connect with extraordinary people, because at the end of the day, again, it really comes back down to human connection and each one reach one to reteach one, because not everything we learned growing up was accurate. And that's where the responsibility comes for us as adults. So when you really become an adult, it's about you reconstructing some of the beliefs or the BS, right? And I don't mean BS, I mean belief systems, right?
It was a belief system, right?
To reconstruct the BS that we think is law in our minds. Like that's how I grew up. That's what my parents taught me, but that's not always the right.
That's right.
Way.
Wow.
So,
I'm so in tune with that. That's crazy. Great. Thank you for that answer. One more for me. And what would you say, Makesi, will be the worst decisions that you've made, and you recommend people stay away from?
Worst decisions, what, financially or just like?
Whichever angle you want to hit.
I always look at life in a balance, right? Mind, body, spirit, finances, right? And that's what our Leadership Development Academy is all about. Is with KQUEST, Kings and Queens United, expressing successful thoughts. It really comes down to you being a king or a queen in your own right on your life's journey, right? And for you to acquire your highest self, when I look at it overall, I think not disciplining disappointments could be a big problem, and not being self-disciplined. My sensei, I used to do karate when I was a kid. Actually, I was a world champion in karate in Trinidad. When I was in Trinidad, I was ranked 4th in the world. I used to travel to California at the World Games, the SKI and the NBL, National Black Belt League. And I was ranked 4th, back when I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. And my sensei always used to say, discipline is knowing what is right and doing it at all times. And I would look back now, and all those lessons are so good, because if the mistakes that we all make is just small things, if you just change some small things on every area of your life, like if you wake up every day and just walk or run, if you do it consistently, it becomes a habit. But if you do negative things consistently, that becomes a habit too. So I would say the first one would be discipline. The second one would be disciplining your disappointments, because you might go walk or you might go run or go to the gym and you don't lose that weight right away. So now you're not disciplining your disappointment. Guess what you do? You're like, man, I might as well just do what I want.
Right.
And you go do what you want, and then you're like, man, this stuff is not. And you start, and every time you don't discipline that disappointment, you have to start over.
Right.
Process.
Reset.
You have to reset. So those two things: being self-disciplined, and then being able to discipline your disappointment on all those areas, financially, physically, mentally, reading books, all this stuff.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Thank you for that. Ray, Eddie, you guys want to jump in and ask?
Yeah, I'll jump in. But before I jump into my question, again, I just want to say how tremendous your story has been. And I'm just listening to you, Makesi, and there's so many thoughts that's coming through in terms of inspirational. I mean, you're talking about, your life experiences, it's like it's passed down from your father to you, and obviously, and then you taking that over, and then you spreading it to others who are willing to hear that. So kudos for you, and keep going, brother. I mean, that's exactly what we need in this community. So
appreciate it, man.
Yep. And then you make our job today extremely easy. Because you've done everything that you said lands right into my question. So my question to you is this, right? You kind of talked about it just a second ago, right? So my question to you would be, what would you rank highest between financial freedom, happiness and health, and career success, between those three? And then why?
Well,
you want me to repeat it again?
No, I think the way I would, you said financial freedom.
Yep.
To me, that's a result of how you live, right? So if I was to place it in, I always tell people, Manny knows this, God first, right? And technically, God is you, right? Right?
Through your actions, right?
Yeah. Your life is a prayer. If you live your life as a prayer, you ain't really got to pray. So it's all how it's your mindset. So God first, your family second, business third. That's my order of hierarchy. So if I look at what you just said, to me, financial freedom is a result of how you live, right? Your health and happiness is based on how you live, right? And then what was the first one?
Career success.
Career success.
Career success.
Mhm.
So I think that goes in again to how you live, right? So if your life is a prayer, I think honestly, all of those things, there is really no hierarchy when you look at it in that manner. If you put God first, family second, business third, then I don't know. My answer might not be.
No. Listen, it's a great answer because
whatever your answer is, it is what it is, right?
This contrast between corporate America, right? There seems to be like at least like distinct differences between happiness and health, right? Is do I want to make that my priority, or do I want to make my career the priority and then neglect others and
sell your soul?
They put you in the either or.
Exactly.
When you should have both.
And it's a mindset
it's a mindset
you're talking about.
And there's a book that I love that addresses it. My guy, what's his name, Grant Cardone, the 10X rule. He goes hard about you don't have to choose. You could have it all. Have your cake, eat it, all of that stuff. And it really comes down to just your philosophical priorities versus thinking that you have to choose between happiness, health, career.
Financial freedom.
The mentality is the mindset. You can
awesome,
have it all.
Awesome.
Can I jump in a little bit? Man, I had a question ready for you, but I just gotta say, man, listen, you could be the fifth, and I'm gonna say fifth because our boy Chuck isn't here tonight, but that's our brother. You know what I'm saying? And he always brings in a good element. But you could be the fifth person on this podcast only because, and I say this because you're a real person, talk about real things, and you give me real advice from your heart. And there is no question about that. And that's always appreciated. Good people always find good people. And I know our topic tonight may be financials but you're throwing in a lot of different components.
Yes.
It just shows like maybe you're, like you say, like your BS, not the BS, but the BS of, your belief system. And your belief system is not financial first.
Right.
It isn't. It's your belief in who you are and what you're doing on this world for this short time that we're living on this earth.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all know we ain't gonna be here. But while you're here, you're a person that's helping communities. You're helping people become a little bit better. You're helping people shift their minds on maybe not what is taught by the government. Go to school and do the certain thing. At the end of the day, you have to figure out yourself. Even in school, and this is what I teach my daughter. And I'm gonna pose my question. It's just that I'm taking the opportunity to kind of like talk to you, man, because I appreciate you.
I get
I'm like, man, this dude right here, yo, really, man. And it's always a blessing to find good people that give some good advice that comes from the heart, and you can't even contest it because just listen to what you're saying.
I told you this brothers were gonna be fire, right? Didn't I tell you? It took a while to get him on.
I know he's busy. I know he's busy, but I hope this is definitely not the last time we do this.
I'm gonna kick it with y'all, man, for sure.
Man, listen, you guys doing a great any topic, man, because your heart is there, man. Our heart will always find the heart. But just let me throw the question now, right? So I'm an educator, right? And a lot of things that I do as an educator is I bring up self-esteem. I talk about how to be successful. I talk to students about how to find their own ways and how to survive and strategize moments that eventually will lead them to success.
Right.
Either way, no matter how you see it, it's all about surviving moments with what you have and what you've been taught based on whatever it is that brings in that information, whether it's society, whether it's your parents, whether it's books, whatever it may be. So my question to you, and I'm probably going to be learning from this too, because I didn't have a Makesi in my life when I was in junior high. No, I really didn't. And if I did, it might be a different story. I'm just saying it could be a different story because it's thinking a little bit out of the box on how to be successful as far as for like what we all do as humans and survive, right? We're all trying to provide. We're all trying to live. We're all trying to leave a legacy. We're making sure that everybody has security, support. Of course, without God, that's a whole different story. But my question to you is, what advice would you give students what are 3 things that you can tell students to focus on even now at their early age in order for them to be successful in the future? And I'm talking about students from, let's say, even at 13, they're kind of big kids. They can be more mature than, they're more mature than elementary. Elementary is different because they really have no choice. But 13, you can start formulating their mind. You said at 16, you started rocking. So think about that. In a lot of different cultures in the Caribbean, there's a lot of people start living bigger lives at earlier ages than here in the United States. And I think sometimes that's what we hold back from our kids. We pamper them, we baby them, we give them everything they want, we give them whatever, the materials get in the way.
What society expects too.
Yeah, but let me ask, so what would be three focuses that a student of, I don't know, middle school, high school, early college, what can they focus on in order to be successful as far as for what we just spoke about, like being successful in providing and making
the right
sure
financial decisions.
Financial decisions, and that they're secured in the future and not have to struggle, because there's a whole different pot of struggling people, right? I mean,
right.
At this point, there's people that are waiting for that stimulus, and there are people that are just not even stressing what the stimulus is.
Right.
Like a stimulus is not really that serious, but there's a lot of people, and these numbers have come out lately. Like, wow, there's a lot of people. There's people that are on unemployment right now.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm asking is, what advice can you give people so they can be a little bit more financially fit in the future? What can they start doing now?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what they can start doing now, I think the reason why I joined and partnered up, why our organization partnered up with MWR, which is, and that's it's a financial services company that focuses on 4 fundamentals that people can plug into right now. And so you asked for 3, but you get 4, right? The 4, but I think it's 2 questions, because I'll address what we could do right now. Right now, we can do people should plug into MWR. This is, I'm not just plugging it because I'm doing it. It's real, because it's really helping not just myself. I know Manny can attest.
I can attest. Yep.
But,
I'm sorry, Makesi, but these are also children, like high school students can do.
Well, yeah, I was gonna go back to that second.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, because you said what can people do right now, right? So I was going to talk about what they could do right now, which is they could plug into the MWR, where you have experts, right? Just like how you go to a dentist to get your teeth fixed because the dentist is an expert with that craft. Just like how you go to a mechanic to get your car worked on because they are experts at that. Most people, it baffles me that most people don't have financial experts in their corner helping them with their money, right? So with MWR, they have every department that they have, each one of those departments have over 25 years of experience to help you with, number 1, your taxes, right? They have enrolled IRS agents to help you with that. Number 2, your credit, right? They act as your power of attorney to get your credit scores boosted, and they write the letters on behalf of you and do all of that stuff. Number 3 is your debt elimination. A lot of people, they can't see their way out of the debt because they don't have a real game plan. And nowadays there's software to help with that. Like, we have a proprietary software. You plug in your numbers, it spits out the fastest route for you to get out of the debt and become a millionaire or multi-millionaire based on what you're making. So literally there's stuff set up for that. And inside of that, they renegotiate all your bills for you. Because of the CARES Act right now, this is things that people need to take advantage of, but they just don't know how to. Yeah. So our experts use the CARES Act and help you renegotiate all your financial bills, your internet, your cell phone, and they can reduce every bill for you because of the pandemic. And that will give you more cash flow to put towards more pressing things. And then the last thing is you want to, and right now is the best time to invest. Anytime there's a recession, my mentor taught me that 10 years ago. He said, when everybody zig, you zag. When everybody, you have to handle multiple chaotic things going on, but stay focused, laser beam focused on your goals and your dreams. And if you look at what's going on right now, people are distracted. It's a lot of distractions. Politics, the George
protest. I mean, just civil rights,
social injustice. it's just a lot, COVID, everything is going wrong.
Yeah.
But the people who are taking advantage of opportunities now will come out of this better
Yep.
than the people who are distracted, because that's the difference between winning and losing is this focus. And I teach people all the time, and this could go back now to the what can kids the 3 things kids could take away from. If there's anything I would teach a child at any age level is focus. Hocus pocus, stay focused. And the acronym for focus is follow one course until successful. See, most people try to do 1,000 things at one time, but I learned a long time ago, he or she who wears 2 watches don't know what time it is, right? You can't drive 2 cars at the same time. You can't ride 2 horses at the same time. Pick one thing and crush it, and then move on to the next. And that's a philosophy I live by right now. I have multiple things, businesses and different things happening, but I focus on one at a time. And I always strategically set it up where I focus on one and get it to a place where I don't have to think about it. It's on an automated system, and then I move on to something else and get that going. So I don't have to worry about having to be there, because that's another. And again, that would be another philosophy I would teach children is you go to school to get your degree so that you can create jobs, right? Not to go to school and get a degree and settle just for the job.
Exactly.
So focus would be one, and then I would say making sure that you understand the power of leverage. How do you get your time back? You get your time back through leverage, right? So J. Paul Getty, first documented billionaire, he says, I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts on a team than 100% of my own efforts punching a 9-to-5 clock.
I love that saying.
Right? So if you think about that right there, any CEO in the world goes to work, they work 8-hour days, but if they have 10 employees or 10 people working with them, they actually get paid on the 8 hours that all 10 people work. That's 80 hours plus their 8. So that's 88 hours. So now leverage is another thing that I think needs to be taught, to kids at 13, 12, 13. So if they understand how to incorporate the efforts of others when you make money, that's a big. I think kids need to learn that as though they, just like how you learn to write a resume.
Yeah, mandatory. Yeah, man.
They need to know the power of, because people say I'm busy. Like I look at lots of people and they say I'm busy. I'm like, you're busy being broke. You're still check.
It's true.
You haven't figured out the only way you're gonna get your time back is through leverage. These are common sense things, but as they say, common sense is not so common. Just like we said before, formal education makes you a living, but self-education and personal development sets you free. The freedom is in those concepts, learning how to focus and finish what you start, not being wimpy, or as we call it, a drifter or
indecisive.
Yeah. You want to replace doubt with discipline, right? You want to replace indecision with being decisive. Like in the world of business, these are just principles that is either you live or die by it, and some people know and some people don't know, which is why you need mentorship too. So you have to look at it from those fronts. So for the kids, those will be the things: leverage, teaching them that concept that when you go to school, the degree is not for you just to settle for a job. I need you to start thinking, using your creativity to think about how you can create jobs, how you can empower other people, how can you incorporate the efforts of others with the skill set that you have now. And that would be a great thing. And then also obviously focusing, because if you stay focused, it'll create a situation where you'll figure it out.
Wow. Great answer. Eddie, I'm sorry. I know he blew our minds, but let me just say real quick, Makesi, before we continue, can you just break down what MWR stands for? And we'll put a link at the end of the show so people can get more acclimated with it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it just means make wealth real. And it's a financial services platform or company where they have resources in 4 departments. Money Max deals with taxes. Credit Max deals with your credit. Equity Max deals with debt elimination, and Wealth Max deals with, investment income, having your money work for you. So that's basically what they focus on, those 4 financial fundamentals, as we like to call it.
Terrific, guys. And real cool, real fast, full transparency. I joined MWR, I want to say about 3 weeks ago. And I have a little homework to do. I know Makesi's on me, but just like I'm very skeptical when I join anything. Like Makesi said, I did my homework, and he made himself available to me. I questioned him. I didn't grill him because I have a lot of respect, but I asked all the questions that I needed to ask, and I didn't see why not. Let me just tell you guys, in 3 weeks, I gave, between my wife and myself, we gave ourselves a raise of $8,000.
Wow.
And this is no BS. So I'm up $8,000 a year just following just two platforms. I'm not even on the wealth. I'm telling you, this thing is crazy. And when I go full force, it's going to be crazy. But anyway, I'm excited. I can attest to the program. I don't want to keep making it, sound like I'm selling it, because I don't have to. It sells itself. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I do want to say that I have attended a webinar, or a talk, and I always analyze certain things as well. And maybe the way my mind has been set is something that holds me down and keeps me in a box, because what I understand, and now I'm understanding it a whole different way. And now that Makesi's talking, I'm like, man, what a great human, man. Like God's work is definitely in this individual. Like, this is what you do, right? If this is what the systems are, if these are the systems of this earth, then you're helping people break those systems and understand how to be successful without only following one way that was told because that's what it was.
Right.
And that's really what it is. If maybe, let's say, for example, I was a millionaire, I might have all these people already, but it wouldn't be through. You understand what I'm saying? So what you're offering here is just knowledge without you having to have the knowledge. People will do the work for you to make sure that you're in the loop, just like everybody else in the world. And this is what equity is.
Yes.
Right? This is equity. At the end of the day, maybe I don't have it. And maybe I was taught a different way. Maybe I did my little school thing and I did the master's and $150 million Brazilian credits. And it's true. But there's a system in that too. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. It's just a different way.
It's a different way.
But one thing that a lot of people do struggle with are their financials. I would think a lot of divorces happen because of financials. A lot of relationships break up because of financials. Families fight because of financials. Other things come into play. And we can do stats, and I can't give you stats, and I don't even know if I should.
And decisions are made based on your financials. If you get a car, if you get a house, everything.
Yeah, and alcoholism, people that go to jail, people that consume. Think about it. And the reason I'm saying this is because these are the kids that I also that I work with, right? Confidence is obviously something that you have to have in order to confide in what you are saying and have that, and confiding yourself first, right? Because it's all about self, right? It's know thyself before engaging in something else. But man, this is just very valuable information. And
you know what, Eddie, I would say too, going back with the kids. So the last key thing I would say is with kids, we really gotta teach more affirmations, because you just said it right there: self-talk, self-esteem, right? You can't love other people to your best, right, if you're not having that positive conversation with yourself. It's tough, so definitely, I teach that even to adults, because a lot of us are in adult bodies but still reliving our childhood traumas, right? So it's all about overcoming those things through self-development. Formal education can't help you with that stuff, and those are the things that guide your emotions and creates your emotional intelligence. And that's the part that's really lacking in the school system, is emotional intelligence. We get a lot of just the formal things, but we don't.
The academics part, the reading, the writing, the math, the system, the hurry up, let's do this, let's do that. But we don't ever pay attention to the kid. And the kid is really building up the child so they can be succcall. You're right. So that's why I just teach people like a lot of affirmations, even on all of our calls and stuff that we do, we always end it. I usually try to end stuff with an affirmation, to just to get people to overcome things. So
I have
one that I would tell a kid is, whether I'm happy or sad, whether I'm supported or challenged, I live my mission, right? Because they say in life, you're lucky if you discover your gift early. So if you find a gift early and you're, let's say you're a rapper or whatever you might be, I don't know what it is, right? But you find a gift and you start doing it and nobody's paying attention. Just keep going. Whether I'm happy or sad, whether I'm supported or challenged, I live my mission. Say it over and over
and over. Yeah.
Believe in
tell a man or woman a lie long enough, they believe it. Yeah. So believe a good lie.
Makesi, let me ask you, when is the book coming out, man?
Say again.
When is the book coming out?
You sound like my wife,
come on, man.
My wife is
seriously, man.
It's coming. If she start cracking the whip on me with that, I gotta get it done.
Come on, man. We gotta get this.
You offer a lot more than just financial, man. You talk about the whole human. You know, we always talk about the whole child and developing the whole child, but you have mentioned a lot, you know, in your answer and the way you speak. You know, obviously it's not just financial. This doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from a good foundation, a good person that has a whole lot of different characteristics and criteria that are put in place for you to be this person, to offer more to people, to help them. Yeah, and that's just, you know, it's evident.
They say you can't give what you don't have, right? So it's important to fill yourself up on those fronts, and the results show based on, you know, the books you read, the people you associate with, and the things you immerse yourself into. It, you're able to give good advice or good karma or good energy to people who are open to receiving it. You know what I mean? Because that's what it comes back down to, man. It's just about just sharing the knowledge. It's not, we can't die. You could die with it.
Right. But then where are you going?
It's like, right.
Yeah. So like you said, with the kids and adults, with everybody, you just want to pass it on so somebody else's life could be easier just by making one subtle mental shift. They're like, you know, this is so much better if I looked at it this way.
So I have a follow-up question for you, Makesi, because you kind of talked about it a little bit, and it's around technology, right? You mentioned, you know, there's a piece of software that can help you. So my question to you is this, right? So does technology sometimes hinder or help with the ability of making sound financial decisions? So for example, nowadays you have all these apps today, like Acorn, Stash, Fundrise, that will give you, you know, introduction and access to these quick, well, maybe quick is the wrong term to use, but these financial instruments, right? Like almost like ready-made type of investment solution versus, you know, the more traditional, more human aspect of the investment, where you sit down with somebody like you, right? That could provide a more in-depth look and provide experience, like proven experience and results. So where do you stand in that particular regard?
Yeah, I don't see it as an either or. I see it as, you know, everything has its place. So I always tell people you need high tech and high touch. Right, so
this man has an answer for everything. He has a slogan for everything.
I love it.
I like this guy.
He reminds me of Les Brown.
Yeah, you need both, you know, and that's that accelerates. And again, you're leveraging technology, right, and you're using the philosophy of humanity. So when you put them both together, you position yourself to really have the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. Work in your favor. I always tell people it's better to play to win than play not to lose, which is how most people play. Most people play not to lose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't go all out and play to win. And I always just ask people that I'm coaching, I always say, well, you know, who makes the most money in basketball, football, any sport? The person who's playing offense, who could put the you know, score the most points, or the person who plays the best defense? And the people that make the most money is the people who could score. So you got to learn to light up the scoreboard, you know, learn how to play on the offense, you know, by using both the technology and let that be your home court advantage versus you having to play on the road or at home. People think it's an either or, but it's not. Both of them could be used to your advantage. And that's how the mindset in terms of how I look at it.
Makesi, one question. You say you
Can I just say something? Sorry, man. I just want to say something. Thank you for the answer. By the way, the examples I gave were not at any way related to those. This was just simple examples. So we're not promoting any of those. So I just had to say that.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no worries. Just, you say you coach folks. Is that a service you also offer?
Yeah, yeah. That's a service that I offer for people that want to get to another level. That's part of the Leadership Development Academy has in it. In fact, soon, right now we're working on, the site is going to be out. It's going to be an actual online school where people could come. It's a full-blown curriculum,
Wow.
And so all the stuff that I've learned over the years, I'm actually putting it, not in a book yet, but right now I'm implementing. I have multiple courses and syllabus and stuff, mindset trainings to help people, to deal with different aspects, mind, body, spirit, finances. And it, and it goes back to what Eddie was saying with being the whole human. And that's really, it's about getting to your highest self and choosing that faith over fear, because a lot of people they succumb to the fear because of the traumas. So a lot of the stuff that I teach is how to win that internal fight. And once you can, then you unlock a lot of your potential. You trade in, basically you're going to trade in your potential, because everybody says, I could be this, I will be that. Man, what would I be? Well, we're going to trade that in for greatness. You trade in that potential for greatness. Right. And that's really what that's what Quest, the aim of it is to do.
Okay, now I'm going to have a plug for our own show. And this is the plug, right? So episode 1, we did an episode about what is fear, right? And then we were going to do a second episode about what is fear. And you kind of spoke about a little bit about it, right? How to trade in your fear to potential. So you might be in the next episode. We don't know yet, but
hey, I'm there, man. Let's get it.
All right, Manny. I know I interrupted you twice, so go ahead.
No, you're good, brother. This show has been the easiest show, man. Makesi's flowing. Everybody, I don't have the host. You guys do it for me.
I do have another question though, and my question tends, you know what it is, that my question tends to be a little bit more educational, only because if we could start a little bit earlier, then I think our success will be a little bit smoother when we get to certain ages, right? Being that you will write your book, Makesi, I would suggest that maybe one of your chapters would be around engaging school students, colleges, and just students, making this part of the curriculum. This is something that they don't teach. I don't know if it's something that it's strategically done because they want people to work for people and never make their own. This is the opposite, right? When people are in school, they are taught to do a certain craft, and that craft is going to make somebody else money. Not every craft, right? But if you get into corporate,
but generally, I get
generally, I mean, basically, you're not your own person. Once we always spoke about, once you get cut out a check and you get a check from a company, your numbers counted. That's where IRS comes in. But when you don't, then they ask you to say, well, at least say what you made doing what you did, because you're the threat to the system that has been created. Right or wrong? Once they get a check, that's it. You're counted. You're in the whole situation, right?
You're in the matrix.
Making your own money, then they're like, "Who is this guy?" And then they come at you differently, and they throw down. Then
Eddie, are you trying to get us canceled? Man, we're going to be canceled next week. Right?
No, but this is real talk, and you know what?
No, I know.
And I'm just saying, no, but I'm not saying that either way is wrong. I'm just saying whatever it takes for you to provide for your family. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I get a check, and I don't feel that I'm going to stop getting a check. That doesn't mean you have to stop getting a check. And I don't think that that's what the point is of what we're talking about. I think you can get a check, but also think of other incomes and other ways of you formulating money for yourself.
Or you can write a check.
Or you can write a check and create jobs, right? So and, I don't want to get into the taxes thing.
But one thing I want to say too, Eddie, is that there's nothing. I hope people don't take it the wrong way that I'm saying you shouldn't get a job, right? That's
right. I don't think you're saying that.
That's not what I'm saying. Because I even teach, it's not about right or wrong. Again, it's about empowerment or disempowerment. Right. So even the language, I tell people, don't be lazy with language. So there's no one way to do anything, right? Right. And it really comes back down to where you find your happiness, right? And that comes from growth, from your successes, and success is a state of mind. So it's a lot of different factors there that in terms of, I just don't want people to think, oh, he's saying don't get a job. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I don't think any one of us is saying that. I hope that's not what the message I'm giving out there, because no, not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Jobs are good. Jobs are good. It's just the thing that I want people to know is, if your potential is to bring even more value beyond your job, then do it.
Correct.
Don't settle for your potential and say what you would have did or could have did or should have did. I like people stepping into their greatness, like do what you all that you can do, and let's see what that so-called potential really look like. How about we see it? Let's see it in live speed. How crazy you can affect change and impact people and make a difference. So
and that's based on skills that people acquire after maybe not even knowing that they can acquire. Like even right now at my age, I'm like, wow, I'm listening. I'm like, man, I never really thought about that because the mind is set sometimes, you know. But I guess I'm gonna get to my question. I don't know why I always give a long introduction and then say, my question is.
I thought you asked the question.
I didn't, and I see you're gonna get it, but I have one more question, right? So, and I kind of started talking about it. Do you think that that's something that can be part of the curriculum of a student in high school and in colleges on how to work with financials? What should they focus on, regardless of the jobs they choose, whether they're a nurse, a doctor, a physician, an engineer, an astronaut, whatever it is? That's part of the talk on now. How are you going to manage your money? What can you do with your money? What should you think about if you want to, grow money, right? Or, do you think that that's something that we can incorporate more in schools? Because we don't do that now unless you're a financial major, unless you're in that business,
right?
It's just not part of curriculum, but it's something that everybody has to deal with at some point.
And that it should be a core. I believe it should be a staple in the curriculum. I feel like that's the missing link. If they put that in there, that's gonna alleviate a lot of stress. I know some people who marry into situations because of finances. Like it's a lot of things that go into the financial aspect, as you're saying, man. So when I look at the four services that's provided with the MWR platform, that's what is needed. That's exactly people need to know how to save, grow, protect, and invest their money. Because most people, like me, when I was at Citibank, I'm thinking, man, I got a 401k, this and that. My wife, she has a 403b, and we thinking, okay, yeah, but when COVID hit, you lose money, right? Or when the housing market crashed, you lose money in those accounts. If you have a mutual fund, you lose money. You didn't realize, hey, there's other accounts out there that you can use as like
your own banking system,
your own bank, your own private bank, and so many features on there that the average person is just unaware. They just don't know because it's not in your crosshairs. It's not in your line of sight. You just didn't know it existed. It doesn't mean that it's not real. And the people who have access to it have financial advisors and professionals that's showing them how to get it done. And to me, that should be in the school system, because if it is, there would be less student loans, there'd be less auto loans, there'd be less mortgage. A lot of people mortgage payments that's 30 years and paying all this crazy high interest. It would be way less. It would be a lot more people being much more successful financially than what we see right now. And what we see right now is because of a neglect of the financial components being embedded into the core values of the school system or the education system.
We've been sold a dream, Makesi. We've been sold a dream that is not real, and every generation continues it.
I
don't want to get a degree, and we see the same cycle. And you're like, wait a minute, I make X amount of money, I make good money, but why am I in this hole? Nobody's sharing. The schools, I don't want to get all conspiracy on it, but there's a reason.
It's real, and then the thing about it is, we could talk on the conspiracy aspect, but I'd stay away from that. This conversation. I'm gonna just talk from a factual perspective on what we can do right now, because yes, it is a conspiracy, right? But here's the thing: if you really just focus in on like go to school, get a degree, get a job, man. I talk about this all the time. That's the industrial age stuff. That's our grandparents, the factory working mentality. To get a degree back then was a big deal. Today, everybody has a degree. For you to be competitive, you need a master's and a doctor degree in certain professions, right? So it really comes down to now, knowing the rules of the game and how to play. And the first rule in the game is in money is to learn how to pay yourself first. And this is the one rule that most I would say 90% of people who go to school and become highly educated, the first rule they break every single day by going to work and not having a business is that rule. Because the first bill we all have is taxes. Everybody, that's the first bill. So if you look at when you go to school, get a degree, get a job, and you start working, but you don't set yourself up to offset those taxes, which is the first bill: sales tax, property tax, federal tax, state tax, local tax. There's all these taxes. So they have not educated us at all in the school system with taxes. So you go to work, you pay your taxes, and you're paying up to 37%. There's no millionaire, no high six-figure earner, no billionaire paying 37% on their taxes.
Nope.
It's not happening. But the working classes, people making 40, 50, 60, 70, 90,000 a year, they're paying the highest taxes.
Yeah.
Why is it? And people say it's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair, but the education is out there.
Right.
So they're like, well, it's up. You got to go seek the knowledge, or we're not going to show you.
Yeah. You can get mad or get educated, right?
Yeah, it's either you're going to be bitter or you're going to come out better. That's the mindset of the government. The government is like,
because they don't care. Life continues. The rich people are going to be rich, and here you are. Hey. No.
So when people talk about paying themselves first, right? They say wealthy people pay themselves first, broke people pay their bills first. The first bill is taxes. How do you offset the first bill?
Right.
You have to start some sort of business. And right now, online, Amazon, Uber, Facebook, every online platform right now is where it's at, because the tax laws are conducive for it, and people just don't know. They think they gotta be some big business icon. You don't have to do that. You just for a couple $100, you get an online business started, and you get plugged into a system, and you get that thing rolling. And it's as simple as that.
You know how serious it is that the government doesn't even trust you to pay them. They say, okay, you make $1,000, we're gonna take $250 before you even see your money, and you're like, oh, I make 70. No, you make 50. Right?
And then, you know what's crazy on that, Manny? After you file taxes, they still tax you.
They still tax. Man,
so they take it, and then for you, when you do your tax return, then they tax you again. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man.
And then you're stressed out. You go get a beer, and then they tax you on the beer. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's what it is. Nobody challenges those things because they don't think that those things are almost untouchable. You don't even think about it.
You don't think
and that's what we're saying, right? Pay attention and educate yourself on how to go around those legal loopholes, right? Because at the end of the day, no one's doing anything illegal here. I mean, it's just the way of, if they knew this, then they wouldn't do that.
Right.
But you're right. Life just keeps on moving, and almost like a parking ticket, right? Sometimes you could fight it, but you're like, let me just pay because I don't want this problem. Yeah. But they got that money.
Right.
But because the mind sometimes just says, like, what's the easier thing to do? Just pay them.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah, it shouldn't be like that. Don't settle for certain things. And I think that's a strong message here in what we're saying.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Wow. Guys, if you didn't get an education today with this man right here, I don't know what you're doing. This gentleman is a gift of God to all of us. I appreciate you, Makesi. I appreciate you coming on with us. Fellas, if you want to send a last message before we cut the show, please.
Well, I'll definitely say I appreciate it. I was taking notes as we were talking, and I'm definitely going to reach out and try to continue this on a personal level. But I appreciate everything you brought in, what you brought in, and aside from your financials, you brought in a true person, a real person that just really cares. You can see you care about just life, and you're not a selfish person. You're trying to give to other people the knowledge that they may need to alleviate some of their stresses in life. And that's always appreciated because that's what people should do, is reach out. Yeah. Like you say, each one teach one, right? And that's a solid model to go by.
Yeah, I love that.
I appreciate you, man. I really do appreciate
you. I appreciate you guys too, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And what I like to say is, so yes, I did attend the seminar and I listened. And just by listening and doing a little bit of research on what I've heard and simply applying some of the simple things that you've said during the session, I'm already seeing the benefits of it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's good.
From a monthly basis, I'm already seeing a huge, benefit, that simply because you said, look into this, because you don't really need to go with the grain, go against the grain.
Right.
And I did my little research, and guess what? I'm seeing it already.
Wow.
And as I'm listening to you, and again, you know, when we're in the seminar, it was, you know, it was information, but here I believe you delivered a more personable message that really, I think, you know, hit me in the core, and you know, will possibly and for sure get me to look more into this, and even just like, you know, like the thing that we talked about our kids and things like that, you know, or have that conversation with my kids and say, listen, this is something that you should, you know, just listen to it, right, and see what it does, because you're at the right age of making that decision, right, or entering into the workforce. You're in college right now. Listen, you know, so thank you for that, Makesi. Thank you very much. Again, it was an honor to have you on this on our session. Hopefully it's not the last one.
You gotta have back. You gotta come back.
I'll be back.
So thank you.
Sure,
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate you.
Guys ready? Let's rock. Let's get it.
And I want to give a shout out to the MWR family. You know who I am, Manny Minaya. I'm gonna catch up to the Altons and the Soy Browns and all those good people,
you
man.
right there, man. You right there.
Hey, I gotta catch up. I gotta run.
Residuals.
Yes, I love that word, man. I love that word. Every day I get a text. Oh, you make X amount. You get a text that you made money. I love it. Right? Usually you get a credit card statement or a receipt. You owe, right?
Bill, right?
Oh man.
For bills, you need residual income. So
exactly.
Cancel it
Turn it around, right? But again, folks, thank you again, Makesi, my brother Ray, Eddie. Great show. Have a great evening. Tune in. Let's get it. United Podcast. Subscribe.
Just make sure. Remember, we're going to put everything in the comments. We're going to put the MWR, the information, because I'm sure there's a lot of listeners right now that just woke up and just said, you know what? Let me see what this is all about. So we're definitely going to put that link down there. Please subscribe to our podcast. Definitely hit like, because it helps us.
Yeah, have the MWR family subscribe as well.
People.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is. You know, so just keep in mind that you know, your support is always, this is what it's all about. All right. So
appreciate you guys,
Peace.
man. Thank you all.
Thank
Peace
you.
and love.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.